Now, I was going to begin this segment with a really tacky, inappropriate joke reminiscing the Muppet sketch called Pigs in Space, and that would be wrong. But that was my way of making the joke anyway. Jeff Bezos, who owns a rocket ship called Blue Origin because he's got rocket envy with Elon Musk. He's trying to pioneer space tourism, I suppose, where you stick a bunch of amateurs into a capsule, shoot them up into the stratosphere, and let them fall back down onto Earth safely. It's sort of like Alan Shepard's first mission to space back in the late 50s. The difference is you're stuck in a capsule with a bunch of other people instead of the solitude of your own thoughts. And some of those other people will be really insufferable, like Katy Perry and Gayle King. They returned to Earth yesterday, these women. It looked like I was hoping for some sort of really cool science fiction pillow fight up there. I'm not going to lie. I'm a big fan of Katy Perry. It has nothing to do with who she is, what she says, what she stands for, what she believes. It has to do with her ability to look good in a tight blue jumpsuit like she does. And she carried that off. And thank you, Katy. Then, sadly, Katy Perry had to talk.
It is the highest high, and it is surrender to the unknown, trust. And this whole journey is not just about going to space. It's the training, it's the team, it's the whole thing. I couldn't recommend this experience more. This is like up there with all the, different tools that I've learned in my life, from meditation to the Hoffman process. This is up there because what you're doing is you're like really finding the love for yourself, because you got to trust in yourself on this journey. And then you're feeling the love when you come down, for sure. And you're feeling that strength. So I feel really connected to that strong, divine feminine right now.
By the way, you're such a badass. I love that the month of April, you're like, I'm going to space and I'm launching my tour.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack there. What did she mention? The Huffman Institute? Isn't that? Well, I don't want to get sued. Go ahead and search it yourself and reach your own conclusion. I'm just glad that Katy Perry has finally found a way to love herself, because if there's one thing that all of us observing Katy Perry over the years have been thinking, it's like, I just wish that woman would be fonder of herself. She just doesn't love herself enough. And thank goodness. She better be careful. It might border on narcissism. We wouldn't want that to happen with Katy Perry. By the way, she also mentioned the training. This isn't just about the ride. This is about the training. So I did a little research into the training, and though we don't have the full spectrum of details, I can tell you that the New Shepard crew, including Gayle King and Katy Perry, underwent a few days of training. Yeah, I mean, she made it sound like she was part of like the right stuff, and they were like off training for months on end. It was days of training. What did the training involve? All right. Number one, the fitting for the flight suits. I kid you not. Step one in your training, get over to wardrobe so we can get you in costume. The fitting for the flight suits, ensuring proper gear for the journey. So there you go. For the journey, for the 10 minutes. Bloop, bloop, 10 minutes. That's the journey. All right. Number two, capsule familiarization. So a tour of the little room they were in, learning the layout of the New Shepard capsule, including seat assignments, camera locations, and oxygen mask placement. In other words, the training you get before you go on a commercial airline flight, when the flight attendant shows you where the exits are and what happens when the oxygen mask drops down and how to buckle your seatbelt. That was a big part of the training. All right, number three, safety protocols covering emergency procedures and how to respond to ground control. So when they talk to you, push this button and talk back. This is the training that they had. And then zero gravity orientation, preparing for the brief period of weightlessness. That was the training that Katy Perry was so hyped up about there. I've heard people refer to them as a crew. They were not a crew. I've heard people refer to them as passengers. I guess they could call them passengers. I like to refer to them as cargo. They were cargo. By the way, what was that last thing that Katy said there? The last part of what she learned on this journey?
You're feeling that strength. So I feel really connected to that strong, divine feminine right now.
She's connected to that strong, divine feminine. Somebody should reveal to Katy that she just connected to that strong divine feminine while taking a ride on the single most phallic symbol I have ever seen in my life. I mean, rockets in general are phallic symbols, but Mr. Bezos is overcompensating for something here. There are rocket phallic symbols, and then there's Blue Origin. Blue Origin makes Saturn V rocket look like. So I'm glad that she got connected to her divine feminism while taking a ride on a giant. Meanwhile, Gayle King has much to say about this mission. It's a mission, by the way, a mission.
What do you think when people say, oh, it's frivolous? Number one, they call it a ride, which I find very irritating because they never say men went for a ride. What do you say to people who think that this was frivolous or just a ride? I think the message that it sends is very, very powerful. And the people that say that, by the way, weren't there.
Okay, so it was a ride. And if men did this, I would call it a ride too. It's not a mission. It's not a journey. This is like Six Flags. All right. I'm sorry. Yes, there is danger involved. Absolutely. There's danger involved at Six Flags too. You've got to be kidding me. They don't say, guess what? The last ride was William Shatner, an 80-something-year-old who is famous for playing Captain Kirk, who also never actually went to space. That was just a TV show and a movie series. Spoiler alert. But they thought it would kind of cool to send Captain Kirk up into space. And guess what? When he came back, he said, wow, what a ride. Was he being sexist to himself? Oh, Gayle. God, she takes herself seriously. Although that's just scratching the surface of a very, very, very deep revelation of how seriously Gayle King takes herself. Watch this. When she finally got back to terra firma after her journey to space.
To me, it's such a reminder about how we need to do better, be better. Do better, be better human beings.
And what do you mean by that?
Processing. Well, it's so nasty and so vitriolic nowadays. And I mean, if everybody could experience that peace that we had up there and the kindness and what it takes to do what we did, all the people that it took to get us up there and get us back safely, I'll never, ever, ever forget. And when
do better, be better. So her 10 minutes of weightlessness in the stratosphere before plummeting back to the earth has taught her to do better and be better. It's a lesson for all of us. I thought that the smarmy, smug sanctimony from celebrities had reached its zenith in our culture, but I hadn't contemplated how smarmy, smug, and sanctimonious those same celebrities would be after going to the stratosphere. Smarmy, smug, sanctimonious celebrities in the stratosphere. That's the name of the next mission. That's Gayle King. Gayle King reminding us all to be better, do better, be better. Thank God Oprah's best friend is there to lecture us about how to do better and be better. Like the time on CBS News when she told us to do better and be better. Are you being better, Gayle?
It's so hard for me to focus on anything other than the shooting.
Me too.
I have to
My
say,
head
guys,
is
it's
much
just very difficult for me right now. It's hard for me to accept the fact that we live in a country where I guess we think it's okay to kill children.
There you go. There's Gayle King practicing what she preaches. She's always figuring out a way to do better and to be better. And she thinks we live in a country where it's okay to kill kids. But it's wrong for me to just reduce her entire identity to the mere fact that she's best friends with Oprah. She brings more to the table than that, right?
And I'm so proud of us. I really am proud of me because I never in a gazillion years thought I could do this. And I just saw a video of us walking up the, I don't want to call it plank, but what's the proper? And
she's really proud of herself. I'm really proud of me. Who forms that thought, let alone articulates that sentence in normal society? I'm really proud of me. I guess I was wrong. I apologize, and I would like to publicly apologize and correct the record. The fact of the matter is, Gayle King literally does bring nothing to the table here, other than the fact that she's Oprah's best friend. And then I guess that, well, that opens up a lot of doors for you. And now she's made it to space. It's the Oprahfication of space travel, and I still don't want to have anything to do with it if it means being in that club. So what have we learned about this little journey? When we shot the cast of The View up into space, what have we learned? Well, we've learned that Katy Perry has learned to love herself. And we've learned that Gayle King is proud of herself. And it's really all about what you believe and think about yourself when you look in the mirror. And I'm glad Jeff Bezos has taken this journey for us, or allowed them to take the journey for us, I guess. The lengths he will go to shoot his fiance up into space and have 10 minutes of peace and quiet. It's impressive. It really is. Also, his rocket looks exactly like a giant